business 101, guys. I mean, what if I told you? You too could have a career path. It's fascinating. How would you like to be in the negotiations when you're getting ready to hire a coach, which I guess we are too, along with Penn State? How would you like to negotiate those buyouts?
Most of them, they all have like one agent. There's pretty much one guy that represents most of the Power 4 coaches.
Really? Is that Drew guy?
I don't know his name, but I just know that most of them have the same agent.
What I thought was funny about Sam Pittman's buyout was that in his contract, the clause was that his win percentage was above 50%. Then it was an extra $3 to $5 million buyout bonus, and he was only 3 losses away from going under 50%. So they could have just waited a few more weeks to save themselves $3 million, but they chose not to. They just said we'll pay the extra now and get you out of here.
They're like worth it.
I just have to ask. We have NIL money where we're purchasing players. Everybody does. I'm not talking about us. And then you have people stroking those checks for the buyouts. There's some money sloshing around here somewhere.
Yeah, the whole NIL game is getting not really put on hold, but there's some pins put in it because of the new revenue sharing, regulations. So it's like instead of the big collective is now writing up these contracts and offering these kids these money, it's now the university. It's now like personnel departments and coaches that are like, okay, this is the allotted money that it's like a salary cap. It's like this is the allotted money we're given for NIL to pay these guys. And so a lot of what these guys were getting offered last year is not nearly what they're going to be making. Because
is that throughout, or is that through every university, all of D1 schools?
It is.
It'll differ in conference.
It will. Like the cap and how much you can have per program depends on the conference, but you can't just throw out a massive number anymore because it's not just people donating, it's like money allotted to universities.
Whoa. Wow.
It starts, I believe I can't remember when it's supposed to start. It's sometime soon. It might be before, it's going to be sometime before next season, but a lot of that's about to change.
Maybe we ought to be teaching this in D schools. Go be a coach, suffer for 15 or 20 years, buyout time. Okay, a couple of quick notes here. Once again, it is very easy to look backwards and say, of course, all the examples went over that we've been over, create new services, all of us are going, well, of course. Somebody's got to think this stuff out. Okay, if you're looking forward, it's much more difficult than looking backward. Now, when you look at these new services, Next Best Action and Morgan Stanley, which we talked about, looks a little dicey. Conservation, wildlife conservation, OpenAI, GPT, drug discovery, etc. Airbus's One Atlas. All those, are they, we don't mention generative AI at all. These are blocking and tackling. I want you to think about when you say you come up with this idea, you or your team, you say, we're going to put this platform in, use satellite data, et cetera, et cetera. But you've altered. You're impacting all this stuff external to your company because you're selling this. You're also using it yourself. Somebody's got to think this stuff up, okay? So don't think when you're looking backward. Just like doing case studies at Harvard. Case studies, 15 pages long, you analyze them in depth. Sometimes they'll bring the actual person from the company in, like a CEO or CFO to Harvard and stuff, and you're still looking backwards. So remember, you're going to be in a different organization, you're going to be in different industry verticals. Once you think this up, somebody on the executive level is going to sponsor you. Okay? It's high risk, high reward. Okay? The UPS thing could have failed. That would have failed in the first 5 centers, shipping centers, so that would have been fine. It's the same thing as an ecosystem. What this is a lot like Airbus. Think Airbus as far as Skywise and their One Atlas platform. What they formed there is an ecosystem. So what happened here, Ping On is a platform business model, and it's they want to come up with network effects. And what that is you've got a user or user company who's getting value from a good or a service, and it depends on the number of users. And network effects, the more users, the more power. And you always are just delighted with network effect. For your generation, this is like you put something up on the internet and it goes viral. Okay, now you can have going viral good, or you can have going viral bad. If you go viral good, you're Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, he got into the old, what was he doing? An electronic phone book. That was Facebook. Okay, so he had network effect. People started getting on it, et cetera. So when you look at this, a platform scales more easily than traditional businesses because what are you doing? You're with digital technology and you want to connect users and manage interaction. Now, this is created by the users rather than the platform. That's the network effect. You've got, what's your guts? The guts of every platform is data. Okay, so basically, your ecosystem is the exact same thing because I can reuse data to do all sorts of things, personalization, matching, and so forth. And what I do is as the data improves and where my operations and my processes improve, I'm improving functionality. So that's what you're looking at with an ecosystem. Now, Ping On started off as an insurance provider. Now, the first thing you should think about is think about your own insurance experience. Your insurance company knows a lot about you. Health, car, auto, et cetera. They have a lot of data, and that starts them off. Okay, so then they want to move from a simple insurance company, if there's such a thing, to machine learning, financial services, and healthcare. What's fascinating, you can make the link between insurance and finance. That gets real interesting right there, healthcare services. So this is what Ping On is thinking about, and so they came up, this is their machine learning platform. Okay, Ping On's the name of the company. The Ping On brain, very cute. Okay, that's their whole service platform. Well, what in the world is that? We got insurance, they're already doing it. They're going to integrate their machine learning platform, the brain, with biological recognition. What's that? Who thought that up? If I need to biologically recognize one of you, how do I do it?
Your face.
Well, it'd be nice to have your face. That's squirrely sometimes with baseball caps and sunglasses, but facial recognition, sure. Fingerprints, iris scans, retinal scans.
I heard now they've even been able to, they can recognize you on how you walk.
Your gait.
Yeah, your gait, yeah.
Now that's coming from the CIA. Okay. How you walk. Now it's amazing. I'm going to watch every one of you in classes over today. I'm going to see how you guys walk out of here. Okay. Now, how would you disguise that?
Put a rock in your shoe.
Yeah.
Put a rock in your
rock in your shoe. Okay.
Too big of shoes? Too big of shoes?
Too big of shoes. Mismatch your shoes. One too small, one too big. The rock will do it. It's easier.
That's what they do in the CIA whenever they need to
alter their gait. It's easier to do a rock in your shoe than it is to fake the limp. Okay? But anyway, the point is biological recognition. So somebody's thinking this stuff up. So they're doing industrial, this is supply chain analysis. They're doing voice recognition, which by the way is also biological recognition, although it's really squirrely. Your voice changes from morning to afternoon, you have a cold and so forth. Okay, they're doing their usual robotic smart recommendation systems. They're looking for healthcare applications here. Notice one of the identifiers there is genomics. I can identify you through your medical images and your genome. If any of you have had your genome sequenced, your gene map sequenced. Nobody? Okay. It's a few $100s now to complete gene map. It's a lot of information there, and you have to make that decision. So, but it is personally identifiable. And then, of course, they're optimizing supply chains and managing risk. Notice they started as an insurance provider. So they came up with Padia, which is another machine learning system, and they're focused there on decision making, and they're looking for this system is powering their disease prediction applications. Now, we've got Center for Disease Control here. They were really big in COVID over in China. So disease prediction gets to be interesting. In our particular case here, Ebola is always a nightmare in Africa. Here, of course, we're now doing what? Doing measles prediction and COVID, but it's hard to say. So here's their approach. Look who they connected. Here's your stakeholders. Keep in mind their data. They've got the government, patients, providers, and insurers. They were already an insurance company. They've got the data ecosystem, and they're keeping all the data gathered. The brain serves as their foundational model, and Padi is decision making. And then they're looking at smart city. That's just because this is not ready for prime time yet. Then they've got their transformation from insurance to financial healthcare. That's kind of interesting. There's a good doctor platform. This is actually functional now. Does everybody know what triage is?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody comes in on emergency, you need to find out, you got a bleed, you go over here. You got a runny nose, you go over here and sit, Go to any emergency room at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. Okay, particularly one in a big city. Triage is all about the hospitalists or emergency room doctors are working very hard. If you had machine learning to help with that, that would help. Diagnosis time on medical imaging is already gone from 15 minutes to 15 seconds. This is prior to this good doctor platform. Inlytic is already doing that. This is down to 3 seconds. Disease prediction monitoring, that's what we were talking about. And notice what they've got. They've got in their database 30,000 diseases and about 1 billion medical records. That's 1 out of every 8 people on the planet. Okay, they got auto services, which I thought was kind of interesting. You remember they were insurance. You guys, I'm sure all of you have the apps now with your car insurance. If you get in an accident, just quick phone, fire it off to your insurance agent. Okay, so they're resolving this in a couple minutes. Now this recommended insurance policies under 7 seconds. That's pretty straightforward for automobile, not healthcare. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this is an actual thing, but since we're doing business models with genome testing and AI, what if they did health insurance that was based off of your risk analysis from your DNA?
Risk analysis from what, Kate?
Your DNA. If you're more prone to autoimmunes, then you have a higher deductibles.
Bang up, good question. You guys answer it.
Makes sense.
Really?
Yeah.
You want me to write your insurance policy based on your genome?
No, a 2-year-old's more you have kids that break their bones.
Oh, I didn't even
No, yeah. Well, look at it this way.
Well, it's not whether you want it to happen, it's what they're going to do or not.
Do you not think an insurance company would beg to have your genome?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Every one of them.
It's like that movie,
Gattaca.
that's one.
The Gattaca, for all of those you've not seen it, using the genome for an elite group of people. Okay, if I've got your genome, that means now we don't know exactly what all 4 billion of your base pairs are and what they'll do, but we've got a pretty good map on a lot of those genes. Okay, so you're born with a genome. You don't get to choose it right now. Okay, you either won the lottery or you didn't. Okay, so as soon as you're born, I sequence your genome, and I've got all these pre-existing conditions. It is the ultimate pre-existing condition. So you have a predisposition for 10 different kinds of cancer, which is not unusual. I write you out of that on the insurance policy. Right there. Weak bones, low calcium. You don't want them to have any part of that. Okay, but it's the real danger in it is that the company that does your genome sequence, and some people out there in outreach land may have had this done, you got to make sure that stuff's private. Good luck with that.
23andMe got bought by is it BlackRock?
Exactly. 23andMe was a toy sequence. It was not, you swabbed your cheek. It was not the full-blown genomic sequence. But still, they got bought out. Was it private equity, BlackRock?
I think it was
Somebody
BlackRock.
did.
I think it was BlackRock. But part of the deal was data rights. One of that data.
Okay, and they wanted the data, and they really want to do what with it?
Sell it.
Well, actually, they want to use it themselves
Yeah.
in their internal analyses. It's like Palantir, that kind of data analysis. No, that's a real slippery slope. Now, I will say, for those of you who had the disruptive class, you've got genetic engineering. So over here, you've got genetic disease, and over here, you've got eugenics. Okay, genetic disease, y'all know those are miserable diseases. So if I can now edit genomes. So what you're born with may not be what you die with. Okay, we can go in and edit down to the base pair. So there's a lot of stuff we can fix. We've already fixed HIV, done a great move into sickle cell, anemia, et cetera. So that's good. Okay, that's good over here. Yeah. Now, what do you do if your fetus, you decide to genomically sequence your fetus in utero, inside the body of the woman? You can do that. And then you have a baby who's going to come out with Down syndrome or Tay-Sachs or any of the really rough propensity to muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, any of those. You'd want to edit on the fetus if you could. So that's a very slippery slope. Okay, when they mentioned genomics on this, I thought, well, maybe in China, that'd be a tough sell here. If somebody wants your genome, don't do that. Then, of course, they're back to financial services and smart cities. Now, remember, they started off as an insurance company. So they're doing risk management for financial institutions, and then they're leveraging their background, of course. Disease prediction, like we said. Now, this gets fascinating. Influenza, diabetes, that's two vastly different things. We don't worry about disease prediction for diabetes in the United States. Why?
Most people have it.
75% of the United States are either obese or overweight. That's not 25, guys, that's 75. So you can almost guarantee type 2 diabetes in way over half the population. So predicting that, we're not too worried about that. But influenza, the new flu's coming out, new COVID's coming out, et cetera. I really was interested, urban planning and management. That's turned out to be a big deal. Better yet, you guys tell me why that is. What is the real concern with urban planning today?
Homelessness.
Hmm?
Homelessness.
Homelessness, okay, I can go with that. As a result of?
Not enough housing. Lack of housing.
Okay, lousy. Yeah, lack of housing, that's definitely an urban planning, no question about it. A lot of people moving on that.
Like expenses, like housing expenses.
Housing's brutally expensive.
So more, multi-person units where just everyone has apartments rather than owning property in a home.
Okay. We have and every time you get in a multi-unit situation, you have the HOA. You need to be very careful about the homeowners association. It's climate. Climate's driving a lot of what y'all are talking about. Once you think about what percent of our population in the United States lives within a few miles in a city and within a few miles of a coastline?
Greater than 50%, right?
A lot. Well, the megalopolis from Boston, literally, what's southern Maine? Portsmouth on down to Washington, D.C. That's 100 million people. Down that stretch. Florida, there's no cities in Florida that are in danger of climate, as you all know. Then we have the Texas coast, then we have Los Angeles, San Francisco, et cetera. So yeah, that's some urban planning. They're going to be underwater. By the way, all of our tax dollars, for those of us who are on the inside of the country, are getting to pay to build seawalls on the coastlines. Your tax dollars at work. This is what they're talking about here. Okay, now this is a grocery store. Okay, that was an insurance company. Here's a grocery store that goes out. They want to create an ecosystem. Now, who drove this? You don't know the guy's name. He's their CEO. He came up with a vision. I'm not kidding. I do not know if he was smoking fat cigarettes. I have no idea. But he drove this whole thing we're talking about here. Grocery retail, this is the guy. They were already into nutrition, which I thought was interesting. Most grocery stores are not. This guy was. They're in retail grocery. That's their largest grocery store chain in Canada. Canada has 30 million people. Okay. That's a lot. They're all located right next to the United States. They're right down that arc. Okay. So they've got a lot of data on customer food purchases. Now, how many of you have Kroger loyalty cards? Okay, because you save a few bucks every time you go in there. Same thing, Publix. Okay, that's how they get your personal data. Right. So notice what they did with it. This gets interesting. Personalized nutrition advice. I've never gotten personalized nutritional advice from Kroger or Publix. Ever. Other than come in here and buy more cakes and cookies. That's their nutrition advice. But they have an app, PC Health app, in Loblaws, in their app, to give you healthy product recommendations. If you are a vendor at Loblaws, how happy are you? If you're selling on the inside of that grocery store, you are very unhappy because you are not going to appear in the PC Health app. Fact is, there was a large debate up there about whether or not, with the board, about whether they were going to have problems with their vendors. You know what stopped it? The CEO said, fire me or we're going through with it, number one. Number two, we're the largest grocery store chain in Canada. Everybody plays on our fairways. Okay, so he had the size, he had the network, so he put it in there, and then he goes in and he buys Shoppers Drug Mart. Okay, he was looking for pharmacy prescription data. So what did he do? He got all this pharmacy prescription data, already had what we were buying, got grocery purchase data mixed in with the prescription data, and now I'm getting a picture of customer health. Why in the world is everybody into health?
Health is wealth.
Yeah, health is wealth. It really is. You know, somebody says, I've gone through my lifetime trying to be healthy and that, the other, and everybody tells me I'm crazy for doing this, that, and the other. What's 1 year of healthy living at the end of your life worth to you? An extra year healthy. I'm not talking about drooling. Okay? My age group is pretty critical. Okay? Notice what they're doing here. They're trying to get you healthier, and that's a grocery store. All right, then they go out and they buy QHR, electronic medical records. You see where this guy's going with this. Now he's got all this health data. Okay, so now they've got it all integrated. Okay, this is really cool because now they've got all kind of data on each of us individually, informed decision making. Well, then he turns around, takes a minority stake in Maple, telemedicine provider. Why? Reach. I want to reach people. And I have all the customer names and everything, so I know how to reach them. And so what does he do? Healthcare services. Now, telemedicine is actually a good idea. It's got to be fairly secure. You've got to find physicians on the other end or nurse practitioners that you're going to talk to so that you're not on the endless hold where that stupid phone's playing horrible music to you. You know, some people need healthcare information like right now. We had a faculty member. Y'all know Kevin Craig? He's a MIS faculty member, and he passed out last year in his kitchen. And he went down on the floor and hit his head on the island all the way down. He lived alone, and his sister didn't hear from him for a couple of days, and she called our department head. And the department head said, we hadn't heard from him, and our department head called 911. Well, they went over there, got no response, but his car was in the driveway. So they kicked his door in and found him, and he had, of course, as y'all know, the big danger is dehydration. And they said he was a couple hours away from dying. So if you're going to call somebody on telemedicine and you're having a problem, this has to be handled correctly. Now, Kevin went down too fast. But you know those things where you have on the lanyards? If you don't move, it automatically dials 911. I was talking to him when he recovered barely, and he said that's the first thing he bought. He left the hospital and went on Amazon, got him one of those the lanyard thing, but it somehow it tells whether you're asleep versus unconscious. You know, which I thought was pretty good. If you go to sleep, you don't want 911 showing up because you haven't moved in a while. So anyway, I thought that was fantastic. Telemedicine it will work. Okay, so PC Health is handling it, and they're using machine learning here to help customers make informed decisions. Now notice what they do. This gets interesting because appropriate care in Canada, they're socialized medicine. It's totally different than down here. We're much more complex. Healthier lifestyle is a great idea. Wearable home devices, pretty much what I was talking about. Now, all of you have, do y'all have are those monitors on the iPhone? I mean, on the iWatch? If you don't move for a while.
Oh, for like the health? Yeah, it tells you to stand and stuff.
Well, if you didn't move for a while, would it call 911 or
Oh,
something?
no, I don't
I
think
do know
so.
it can detect car crashes, like if there's been a sudden
Yeah.
stop, then it'll call 911 for that.
Or a fall if you hit it too hard.
Yeah.
Of course, now Kate doesn't move much in class. I mean, we could have 911 here. Half my undergraduates go to sleep. I have 911 in class every day. So, but think about this. This is not a bad idea. It's coming from your grocery store. I wonder about that as far as marketing. If Publix told me they had PC Health as an app, I would really like to see that. You know, just a thought. So they got great wearable home medical. Now this is getting interesting. Home medical devices, man. I'll tell you this: standardized healthcare has 5 more years. United States healthcare is going to last 5 more years, and that's it. Before you revolutionize it, and it's going to come right through here. Home medical devices through your phone, just letting you know what disruptions are coming. Then they partnered with League, which is personalized health recommendations. That's that was their strength. And so the idea was machine learning to PC Health, and it gives you sophisticated health support. Now, that gets to be one of the interesting things here because I don't know who's in second place in Canada, but they would have to compete with Loblaws on this simply because of customer satisfaction. This is really difficult. Healthier lifestyles. If we had it in the United States, if people were serious about it, we had better food, then we wouldn't have 75% of us overweight. Okay.
One of the wearables, the ring, you can export your data to your doctor.
The Oura ring. Yeah, the 4.
Yeah.
Oura 4. Have y'all had one of those rings? It's like having an iWatch on your finger. What it does is it'll measure 10 different metrics. It'll give you a sleep score when you get up every morning, so you can be depressed that you didn't sleep well that night, you know, that sort of thing. If it's green, everybody. It also it will export your doctor, but your doctor has to have the other system on the other end. And he or she has to agree to that. And then, it's a great idea. We'll end up with these monitors as it goes along, but I was just fascinated that the CEO's driven this. It's been wildly successful, financially as well as public health.
Makes sense. The more people, the longer people live, the longer they can buy your stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Besides, what's your highest profit margins? The outside of the store or the inside of the store? All the outside stuff, all the fresh stuff. Everything on the outside of the store, guys. Especially organic stuff, whether or not it's actually organic. Lyft is doing this. They're desperate to do this. So's Lyft. Oh, by the way, with Loblaws, everybody that shops in their grocery stores and uses a health app is just feeding the machine learning algorithms. Okay. This is your drivers, passengers, and other service providers. What they're doing here, Uber and Lyft are desperate to go to driverless taxis. They want to get rid of the drivers. So their drivers are feeding machine learning algorithms. So are the passengers through your ratings, recommendations, and where you want to go. Okay, you feed surge pricing, by the way. And the other service providers, who are the other service providers here at the platform?
What's that company? Is it Waymo?
GM Cruise, Waymo, sure. Driverless taxis are right up against them. It's who gets there first. Okay. The Climate Corporation, which is owned by Bear, of course, and what they want to do is pull their ecosystem is farming. Okay, they're linking up the seed producers. These are the people who have patents on seeds, Monsanto, ADS, some of those companies, equipment manufacturers, John Deere, and so forth. And they want to come out with some kind of a better way to handle agriculture, which is going to involve a lot of robotics there, hence the equipment manufacturers. Now, Siemens, that's pretty cool because they're looking for predictive maintenance. In their big turbines, naturally, you're going to say what's your percentage to fail or require maintenance. This is what they do. Maintenance is proactive, of course, reduce downtime and extend equipment life. The traditional method of performing maintenance is schedule, okay, which we've always done. Now, Kroger, yet another grocery store. I've not run into this in Auburn yet. I don't know where in the world they got 84.51 degrees. That's the name of their system. I meant to look that up, but it's just one of those things. What they want to do, understand consumer behavior and optimize operations. Notice I don't see anything here about healthcare, but they've got their transactional data, their loyalty programs, and whatever, their online mobile shopping. Now, what they're trying to do is marketing, okay? This, have you seen anything in Kroger that has improved product assortments? The word there scares me because I have not seen improved product assortments. Now, if you look at it as improving sales, that's one thing. Y'all know if you look at the shelves in front of you, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the most valuable shelf is at eye level. Pretty standard stuff. Then it's above, then below. People would rather reach than squat. Okay, and that's fine. And then the classic market basket products bought together. You split them up so they have to walk through the whole store. Milk and eggs, milk and bread. That's pretty standard stuff. If that's all you're doing, okay, fine. So I can offer garbage, but I want to increase sales. So I don't, that kind of bothered me a little bit. Then in contrast with Loblaws, I was a little bit interested in that. And then of course promotions. What kind of promotions do we have the week before the Georgia game? You walked in any grocery store in town, what do you got? Chips, salsa, hamburgers, lovely meat, all you meat eaters. I'd highly recommend you don't do that, but it's game time stuff. Baked beans, Cokes, Pepsis, I mean, come on. Halloween's coming. What do we got? All the candy in the world. Every dentist is going, it's really great. Okay, that's not helping our health, but it'll help their sales, okay? So it serves Kroger internally, not for us. So, analytic solutions, that's great. Okay. They hook in with their vendors, that's wonderful. So now they've got to do restock, which they're gonna have to improve customer engagement. What is customer engagement?
What do you like use of the loyalty card or whatever?
Yeah, that's good. Personalized shopping experience. Reminds me of that person who's being interviewed. He said, well, I go to shop at Dollar General so I don't have to dress up when I go to Walmart. I mean, what do we got in town here? One Kroger, Super Kroger, 2 Publix, 3 Publix. And then we got Walmart, right? Okay. So what do you got? 3 billion recommendations, optimize shelf space, they'll push that out through their app. Customer behavior, again, we're back to marketing. And then they've got their media that for advertising and such. And that's strictly operations. Okay, now, if you're gonna transform operations, this is where we are. Okay, so we've got robotic process automation where I just take a business process and I move it into automation. I apply some machine learning, and then I get intelligent process automation, which is great. And it combines 2 different ways to handle this. You've got the robotic process, and then you've got the machine learning first. So you can start with robotic process automation first, then apply machine learning, or you can try you just go ahead and straight with machine learning. Depends on your company. Routine tasks come first. Complex business processes, this has not done well.
I kind of think Kroger's doing that in Birmingham. We don't have like a physical Kroger in Birmingham. It's only through the app and delivery. They just cut out the middle grocery store altogether. It's like the produce, fresher produce. It doesn't have to sit as long. They don't stock.
That's cool. Where's your warehouse?
I don't know.
It's close enough so the produce is fresh.
Yeah, there's not a physical location, but you see tons of Kroger like vans. They only do delivery.
So they're doing last mile in vans, and that's all they do.
Yeah, so they're automating your shopping experience.
You have an app. You have an app.
Yeah, it's through the app. I mean, just like the regular Kroger app.
Just go right in there and order it up, and same day.
There's same day, and then I know you can also like schedule it ahead of time and get the same things every few weeks or whatever. Like your produce, like I know.
Okay, so you could do scheduling, like every week or so, whatever that is.
Whatever you want, probably.
And a human brings it to you, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But I'm sure a human's not
it's
getting
not
it
a
off the
driverless
shelf.
van. Somebody's got to
No.
bring it to your door. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder where their warehouse is.
Yeah.
Close enough to deliver. Maybe we could have that here. Wait till a clunky robot walks up. Your package. Okay, so here's what we got. Robotic process automation, which you'll run into in the real world. Repetitive rules-based tasks. They mimic human interaction with digital. Okay, these are the traditional tools, been around forever. They start with the basic process automation. They're adding their machine learning capabilities over time. Now, what do? They can pull structured data from invoices, and you can enter it into these systems. That's great. Process expense reports. This is wonderful. I think most of us have expense reports with predefined rules. The university sure does. Our expense reports are like this long because of our people over here that check to see if you actually went where you said you did. You have to turn in boarding passes. Then, of course, order entry and such, track inventory, stuff you would figure that'd be great. We'd move the humans out of those. Then you start the machine learning process they give their automation as an application. Now, they're looking for more complex cognitive tasks. Now, what are we looking at now? AI agents. It's an interesting intersection with intelligent process automation and AI agents. The agents are coming along, but notice what you've got here. I'm pulling data from various unstructured invoices. That's a pretty good interpretation problem, formats and layouts. Now I've got to have natural language customer inquiries, got to understand that. I've moved up to complex requests, which is very interesting because I'm going to learn from interactions. Expense patterns. Now, if I'm going to do this, I've already got the simple part doing the expense reports. Now I'm going to check for anomalies, which means fraud. Then, of course, you're going to optimize inventory levels. If you do this, you're going to do demand planning. Okay? You're not going to handle inventory levels as well unless you do pretty serious demand planning. So that's strictly proactive. This is the bottom line. Organizations use both repetitive robot process automation and then machine learning systems move up a level. These are AI agents. That's what we're calling them today. There's a huge question as to whether or not AI agents as well as these IPA systems should keep the human in the loop. Frankly, because of edge cases that you see up there, probably should. Goldman Sachs put in Sentinel to handle risk management, and it, as you can imagine, Goldman Sachs does billions of transactions, so they handle all this data, analyze it to do risk management. This is what their capabilities are that they developed. These are interesting patterns, especially with high frequency trading, illegal and risky behavior. That's two vastly different things. Text, difficult to analyze, natural language processing to handle it, risk and compliance, and then of course, nuance and context. Look, we can handle keywords already. The question is, can you handle context and nuance, which is much more difficult. Now, the hidden connections, you guys have heard all the stuff about a shell company owned by a shell company under the mask of another one internationally. This is what they're looking for: collusion, risk, illegality. That's pretty sophisticated. Now, they're trying to predict future risks based on historical patterns. I would love to know what they do when I'm trying to predict future risk. I don't know on how grand a scale they are there, but I can assure you that Palantir is doing this on a global scale. Naturally, you update your model constantly, new types of financial crimes and regulatory requirements. Always learning. Now, back to the agriculture world. This is Tractor Supply. This is their machine learning project. They're influencing customer behavior. Notice, I'm giving store employees information. That's pretty interesting, with recommendations in store layouts to be able to guide people around. So what you've got is, you've got a headset and you've got a mobile device, and you can give assistance to customers. Now, as you know, this is the holy grail of any big box store. Get assistant to customers. Where's the product? Will this work? Should this be a nail or a screw? It's just fascinating that you've got to have a knowledge base for the rural lifestyle. This is Tractor Supply Company. Notice their brand, Life Out Here, meaning outside the city. Okay. Well, it accelerates training naturally. I can onboard you in a hurry. Probably you can walk in and fog up a mirror and you're at work. You got a pad and a headset. Okay. Now, what they want to do is they want to apply computer vision, how they call it tractor vision, and they want to optimize the customer service. So notice, checkout lines building up, browsing customers might need assistance, usually when people are walking around looking irritated, and it matches them with employees who have relevant expertise. I would imagine that this goes away if you have the pad. And then traffic patterns, that's really cool. Conversion rates, stocking and production. Now, customer traffic patterns, that must be something that Tractor Supply is actually dealing with. If I tried to analyze customer traffic at Walmart, bring your checkbook. I don't know. Most people in Walmart, you can get in, you can't get out. All right, Progressive, they're using sensors, which is, I'll be interested to know. They're putting sensors on your car to measure how and when you drive. Now, how many of you are willing to do that for a reduction in your insurance? You're willing to do that?
My dad did it to me.
What?
My dad's done it.
What do you think?
What? I didn't know.
Is he a good
Oh, he
safe
did it
driver?
for all of us. Like when my sister and I turned 16, he put them on there, and like one of us got a little bit off, one of us got a little bit more off. It was just depended on like how fast you braked and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, current, it measures G-forces. How hard you brake, how much you accelerate, how fast you turn. Are we all geo-fenced as well?
I don't know.
When you were 16? In other words, you went outside a boundary, your dad called you up?
Oh, I don't know. As far as I know, he
I
didn't
was
have
a
access
geo-fencer,
to
I don't know
it.
about the rest of it.
Yeah. He just said like, just go in your car and we might get something for your insurance. Probably didn't get that much.
Well, I'm just curious, what would you guys do that?
I would do it.
Because none of you ever speed going down interstate.
I
I mean,
will.
I don't think you had anything to lose. Like, there was probably a max you could pay, and then if you're the better you drive, the more you get off.
Well, I know they do, like, if you go on your phone, the app, like, recognizes that, and they can shoot it up. My friends have that.
I never had access to that.
Distracted driving.
Yeah.
I run into trouble with it with, I just got like a brand new car. And so in order to like, for my insurance to go down, I signed up for the DriveWise or whatever. But I've noticed with my brand new car, it has a bunch of sensors that'll like stop my vehicle if I get too close. So if they're like turning and I'm just going to go around, it acts like I'm going to have a collision and it puts a point on it.
And you lose, I mean, that's, so your Rolls Royce does that?
My truck does, but.
Brand new car, I had no idea. I tell you what, I would think that I'd have to know how much money I was going to save. But if you drive from here to Montgomery, 7 o'clock in the morning, we have a lot of people that live in Auburn to go to Auburn City Schools, and they work at state government. If you're doing 85, down 85, you're being passed. As far as everybody here that works in Montgomery, as far as they're concerned, it's 90 miles an hour, they're there in 30 minutes. That's their mantra, and everybody's with them. If I'm Progressive Insurance, I'm just jacking rates as fast as I can. That's interesting. I tell your dad, good job. But you don't want to do that in a college town.
Yeah, it's not in the car anymore. So.
Yeah. This is, now I will say, rental car companies have tried this. They have been savaged. Hertz just got blown away from their AI tracking package. When you turn your car in, they have a machine learning package that you take a picture of the car, and it started giving false positives. That you had a dent or a scratch, and it was misreading dirt and sometimes light reflections. And people, you're on your way back in the terminal. So they do this later. So later you get a $400 or $500 bill because it said you had a dent. And so naturally there's been a major meltdown. So I think you have to be careful here, but it's kind of fascinating. Notice different factors in different U.S. states. If you're in Montana, if you're doing 110, you're not speeding. You're the only one out there. Well, this is what we were talking about, excessive acceleration, deceleration. Time of day driving, I don't know about that. I don't know how in the world they work with that. Using the phone. Brady uses phone while we drive. Okay, so they want to price insurance lower for safe drivers. We don't know how much the cut was.
Probably not much.
Does it influence behavior? Well, I guess if you want to put the sensors on there. If I had an audible beep from a plug-in device, every time I had an unsafe encounter, it'd be like what you're talking about. I got unsafe with one of you guys in the crosswalk. Now, this is what I really like. Machine learning generated driving tips. I got a granddaughter who's going to drive it in May. We're gonna have to put sensors all over her car. Okay. I'm trying to imagine this. I really am. Okay. The largest insurance company in Canada decides they want to marry up with Vitality Health Insurance, which you figure, here are your 4 behaviors. By the way, this is true. Insufficient exercise, unhealthy eating habits, smoking, including vaping, excessive alcohol consumption. Those are probably 80% of disease development in your lifetime. So they're doing the 4 key behaviors. That's good. And they're the 4 non-communicable diseases. Diabetes is actually number 1, respiratory disease, all types of cancer, and cardiovascular. 1, 2, 3, 4 is probably the way that should have been. And they're 60% of the global deaths, early global deaths, by the way. So they had a big problem to address. This is great. So they got activity trackers, rings, your iWatches, Fitbits, all this kind of stuff. You give that. You agree to give that to the company, and you get rewards. Lower insurance premiums for maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I'm not quite sure how they handle unhealthy eating habits. I think you can measure the rest, unless you have to take a picture of your food every time.
Wouldn't there also be a correlation between like the people who are willing to do that and like where the watches and everything and
Absolutely. There's a cost involved. Those watches aren't cheap. Also, can't remember. Go
you're
ahead.
just sitting there smoking on the couch, you're not willing to wear the watch, it's not gonna work.
Well, I agree. It's definitely socioeconomic too. We did see years ago, they did a 60 Minutes interview with a lady, and they were asking her why. She had 3 boys and a single mom, and she was interviewed about shopping at McDonald's. And she looked at the interviewer square in the face, and she said, for me to go to a grocery store requires 2 bus trips. Takes about 35 minutes to get to the grocery store, 35 minutes back, another 2 bus trips, $3 or $4 each, each leg. And she said, I have 3 hungry boys and I have to feed them. And the guy said, well, you're in a food desert. She said, yes, I am. I can't afford the bus trips. I can't afford shopping the outside of the grocery store if that's about what you're telling me. And I got to feed them. That goes exactly to the heart of what you're talking about. So you have an inherent bias here. And by the way, your machine learning data will be biased here. Excellent. So this is what you get. And you get these rewards. And it delivers personalized nudges to members. So your phone's going to blow up. You really want that Big Mac. Are you serious? You're about to eat meat again. What did Rainer tell you? Now, I'd put those nudges in there. Just don't do that. What's a nudge and how do you receive one? It comes through your phone and it's there to irritate you. That's all it is. It's not very far off when you can literally, you guys may be able to do this with an app, photograph the meal on your plate and have it give you all the nutritional information. How many of you do that? Can you do that?
I did Weight Watchers for a little bit.
Yeah. So, prepare to be irritated. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to model metrics, but I want you to think, all that stuff we just talked about, new products, ecosystems, that's really good thinking. But you've got to think about it beforehand. So when you get, the real problem is this, you guys are going to be very busy. Okay, get your job, you got stuff you got to get done, there's a forest fire on your desk every other morning, something that has to be done, your boss wants, etc. You're going to have to find time to think. I mean, really, it's more difficult than it looks. Now, when you get to model metrics and organizational KPIs, key performance indicators, that linkage has to be really tight. And we'll be getting into nuts and bolts, but that's essentially what machine learning does. Okay? See you Wednesday. Anybody wants to play quarterback? Come see me at the fire.